Okay, well, after Saturn, the next and most fascinating transit is the transit of Uranus. And Uranus has an 84-year cycle, so if we have a reasonably long life, Uranus will return to its birth position and conjoin each of the planets in our horoscopes and go through each of the 12 houses. And it has an effect, of course, in every position it's in, every aspect it makes to every planet. And especially the age of 42 or 21 is going to be when Uranus is opposite or square its birth position. These are going to be major times for every person on Earth, times of independence and liberation. So basically, Uranus is connected with the awakening of consciousness, which is kind of a nice way of putting it. It shows a kind of electric influence. You get restless with it, and you're looking for interesting new options, and people turn up who maybe inspire you to start thinking in different ways. And it's typical with Uranus that you do get involved with some group, and that group has got some idea or theme which will turn you on to something new, which will give meaning in the next phase of your life. Another thing that happens a hell of a lot with Uranus is the fact that you travel. It's jet aircraft time. And so you travel to, especially to exotic countries, whatever's exotic. If you live in USA, you might go to Mexico or South America, or if you live in Europe, you might go to the Far East. It's not your neighboring country normally. It's it's people with a different language, different culture, because Uranus is like trying to introduce you to something completely new, completely exciting, completely electrifying. Now, another thing with Uranus is that generally something happens which you didn't expect. It's a surprise time. So whatever plans that you actually have, Uranus has a tendency to upset those plans. Basically, you have to be open and ready for change when there's a Uranus transit on the way. You're restless, bored. Boredom is that feeling you get just before Uranus comes and does something. Is the feeling that something's got to happen to make life more interesting. And that's just what Uranus is going to do. So what happens is you're willing to take some risks. So if Uranus comes to Venus, which is to do with relationships, you'll be willing to take risks in love. If you're single and in your 30s or 20s and Uranus comes to Venus, you're going to meet somebody and you're going to be traveling. That person is probably not even going to be from your country. You may be speaking a different language. They'll introduce you to whole new groups of people. That's the sort of thing. But if Uranus comes to Mars, and Mars is already connected with risk-taking, then it's incredible. You really want to do something exciting, like parachuting or some extraordinary exploration where you're slightly in danger. That's typical Uranus. So it's a very exciting time, but it also brings stress. So the epidemic of stress that people, we get in this digital age is connected with Uranus. Uranus is connected with technology. It's connected especially with social media. And basically we're all sitting in front of computers, it seems, today. And the unending possibilities that are happening in the digital world and the connections you make and the emails that are coming in, this is connected with Uranus, and obviously it can give a lot of stress. So one of the antidotes to Uranus is Neptune, but more about that later. So basically, with Uranus, you need to meet something different, and you will. You want change, and you get restless. You need space. So if you're in a relationship or marriage or a stable family, Uranus comes to your moon. Well, the family needs to give you more space to experiment. You want to do something different. You want to take them on a camping holiday that lasts a few months. And they would be well advised to go along with whatever you're thinking of doing. Because Uranus is very headstrong in a sense. When Uranus comes, it doesn't respond very well to people saying, now take it easy, think this over, be sensible. That's the last thing that Uranus wants to do. So here was a very easy prediction. This is the horoscope for Nicolas Sarkozy, who was the Prime Minister in France until 2012, when he lost the election to François Hollande. And this was easily predictable. That's because just before the election was in May 2012, just after the election, Uranus came on his moon. Now imagine that. Uranus is here, and it's moved slowly around his horoscope for years. So at the age of about 55, it reaches this point. And at this point, Uranus goes once over the moon, once again over the moon retrograde, and a third time over the moon. And just after the election, Uranus came on the moon. So the question was, would Nicolas Sarkozy be in the same place? The moon represents the home. So would he be in the Élysée Palace where the French president resides? No. Uranus brings moves. Uranus over the moon brings travel, international travel. It brings a time when you collect your tent and start going out over the plains. You don't normally stay in the same place. So it was a kind of easy prediction to say he'd lose that election precisely because Uranus came over his moon. There would be a change in his domestic life. Just that is enough to see that he couldn't really continue in the same position as he was. Notice with Nicolas Sarkozy, he's got the moon in Aries and also Mars, which rules Aries, in Aries. So this Moon-Mars conjunction is an incredibly dynamic combination, but it's also has a very strong temperament. And Nicolas Sarkozy was renowned for his temper. People were terrified. Even his wife mentioned that his temper was terrifying. So basically, this was a weakness in his horoscope that he had a Moon-Mars conjunction in Aries. He was too unpredictable, and that Uranus kind of pretty much blew him out of the water, and he had to move on. And he left politics for a while, at least.